Archangel Michael says. There are moments in your life when silence feels heavier than words. When something was left unsaid, but you felt it anyway. That's because some words are not just thoughts unspoken, they are spiritual contracts unfulfilled. And right now, beloved, I, Archangel Michael, come to you with divine urgency. A woman from your past, one who once held a sacred space in your heart, has been carrying a truth she never got to share with you. Her words were real. Her emotions were deep. And her sorrow, though quiet, has echoed across dimensions. You may have felt it, those unexplained waves of emotion, moments of reflection, or dreams of her face you cannot forget. That's not coincidence. That is the energy of unfinished communication. There was a message you were meant to hear. A moment of truth that never arrived. And because of that, her soul has been in mourning, not just for the love that was lost, but for the closure that never came. I must tell you, heaven never wastes emotion. Every unshed tear, every prayer whispered into the pillow, every piece of hope she held for you, it was seen. It was documented in the divine archives. And now, it's time. You are being called into spiritual alignment. Her pain is speaking louder in the spirit realm now than ever before. She is not reaching out to blame, accuse, or reopen old wounds. No, beloved. Her soul is aching to release something she has carried too long. A burden of silence. A message of love, maybe apology. Or perhaps, a truth that would have changed how you viewed the entire story. The tragedy isn't only in what happened, but in what never had a chance to be heard. This message is not about guilt, it's about divine timing. Because what wasn't ready to be heard then, may be perfect for you now. You have grown. You are stronger, wiser. And you are finally ready to receive the truth she once withheld. Whether her reasons were fear, manipulation, confusion, or interference, the truth remains, something sacred was left unsaid. And heaven is asking you to listen now. Type Amen 6272 to get the heaven blessings. You may sense her more clearly in the coming days. Her name may appear. Her memory might knock unexpectedly on your spirit. You may hear a song, feel a dream, or even feel a deep pull to revisit an old journal or photo. Don't ignore these signs. They are invitations from heaven. Her soul has spoken to the highest realms, asking for one last chance to complete the loop with you. And so I ask, will you open your heart long enough to hear what was once blocked from reaching you? Because what she tried to say may change everything. Archangel Michael says. You've been told to move on. You've tried. You may have even convinced yourself that what happened was just one of those things, two people parting ways, destined for different roads. But the truth is more unsettling and more divine. This separation, it didn't unfold by chance. There was interference. There was manipulation. There was someone, or something, working behind the scenes to ensure that you and this woman you once deeply loved would never have the conversation that was meant to happen. Someone knew that if you two spoke heart to heart, the truth would come out. Healing would flow. And a divine alignment would form that could not be undone. So they blocked it. I am showing you now, there was a hidden saboteur. This may have been a person close to her, or close to you. Perhaps even someone who posed as a friend or helper. But in secret, they fed lies. Twisted timelines. Delayed messages. Blocked phone calls. They planted doubts, suspicions, and distractions at just the right time. Maybe you thought she pulled away on her own. Maybe she thought you had moved on without care. But behind the confusion, behind the silence, there was a third hand. Type Amen 20938 to get the heaven blessings. Archangel Michael says, someone profited, emotionally, spiritually, or even financially, from keeping you apart. They had something to lose if you came together. Perhaps your love threatened their control. Perhaps your destiny together would have disrupted their plans. Either way, they took action. And the cost? Her silence. Your confusion. And an emotional wound that never properly healed. But heaven saw it all. Nothing was hidden from the eyes of God. And I, Michael, the protector of divine justice, have come to reveal this, that sabotage is now being exposed. The timeline is realigning. The spiritual fog is lifting. And the one who once succeeded in separating two sacred souls, they are now under divine review. You may feel stirred with sudden realizations, like you're finally piecing together a puzzle that never made sense before. That's the divine light breaking through the false narrative. Let it come. Let the pieces fall where they must. Because this moment is about restoration and revelation. Do not judge yourself for what you didn't see. You were shielded by divine mercy until you were strong enough to face the truth. And now you are. What was taken from you, the chance to hear her truth, the opportunity to make things right, is being divinely offered once more. But this time, the saboteur will not succeed. This is your sacred moment to break the curse of interruption. Not just for her, but for you. Because until this truth is acknowledged, a part of your emotional power remains buried under false conclusions. And here's a divine warning, that saboteur may still be near. Watch closely. Listen deeply. Trust your instincts. Because this time, you are not to be deceived again. Type Amen 8237 to get the heaven blessings. When the world didn't hear her, the angels did. Archangel Michael speaks again. There is a sorrow that no one saw. A grief so quietly endured that even those closest to her believed she had moved on. But heaven knows better. For even when her voice failed her, when pride, fear, or pain stole her ability to speak, the angels were already listening. Her tears, though hidden from the world, rose like incense into the heavens. I want you to understand something sacred. What she could not tell you, she told God. What she dared not admit to herself, she confessed in her moments alone, in the stillness of night, on the edge of sleep, or beneath the sound of the shower, when no one was around to hear the soft tremble in her soul. Archangel Michael says, she cried for the moments lost. For the words never exchanged. For the look in your eyes that she never got to explain. You may think she walked away with her head high, but spiritually, she walked away carrying a weight that only heaven could witness. And that weight has not lessened. In fact, it has intensified. Because time doesn't always numb truth. Sometimes it amplifies it. And now, heaven has responded to the frequency of her cries. Type Amen 2737 to get the heaven blessings. I am here, not just for your healing, but for hers too. You see, her sorrow has created a spiritual imbalance that must be addressed. It is not punishment, it is divine restoration. And for that restoration to take place, your awareness is required. Your willingness to feel the invisible threads between you both is needed. When she wept, she was not only grieving what was lost, she was pleading for a second chance to set things right. She prayed that somehow, some way, the truth would find you. Even if it couldn't come from her lips, she hoped the universe would deliver it. And now, beloved, it is. You are reading this because heaven heard her. You are being stirred, even now, because her soul is reaching out. She may not even know she's doing it consciously. But her higher self, her spirit, is crying out for resolution, for mercy, and for truth. And here is what I must tell you. If you respond to this divine prompting, if you open your heart to listen without ego, you will not only receive the clarity you've secretly longed for, you will also be part of her healing. You will be heaven's answer to her prayer. Archangel Michael says. But if you harden your heart, if you shut the door and say, "It's too late," then the pain may loop again, this time in future lifetimes, until the energy is cleared. This is a sacred opportunity. Your soul and hers made a pact long ago, before this incarnation, to support one another's evolution. That pact was interrupted, but now the angels are bringing it back to your awareness, for completion, for peace, and for transcendence. Can you feel her presence? That's no imagination. It's her soul calling. And heaven has answered. Type Amen 3838 to get the heaven blessings. She saw the fire in you before anyone else recognized your light. Archangel Michael now reveals something precious. Before the world saw you, she did. Archangel Michael says. Before you believed in yourself, she did. Before you ever considered that your path held divine purpose, she had already sensed it. I tell you this not to stir old emotions for pain's sake, but to bring your attention to a critical truth. This woman once held sacred knowledge about your destiny. And whether she said it aloud or kept it buried beneath layers of pride, fear, or confusion, she knew you were marked for something greater. She didn't just fall for your face or your charm. She was drawn to the light in you, the light that others ignored, misunderstood, or even tried to dim. She recognized it, even if she couldn't fully explain it. You may have felt ordinary back then, unsure, even broken, but she saw the seed of power buried beneath the dust of doubt. What if I told you that part of her regret is not just losing the relationship, but losing the opportunity to walk beside you as that light bloomed into fire? Because deep down, she believed in the vision of you and her as something holy. Something fated. Something heaven might have written into the stars. And now, as she watches you from afar, whether consciously or through the eye of spirit, she sees the very power she once whispered about beginning to awaken in you. And it stirs a deep ache within her. Type Amen 2933 to get the heaven blessings. She didn't only admire you. She documented something for you. Whether it was in a private journal, a hidden letter, a prayer spoken over you when you were asleep or gone, she released words into the universe on your behalf. Words of belief. Words of destiny. Words of covering. Because when she loved you, she loved the calling on your life, too. Heaven has stored every one of those declarations. And now, the time has come for them to resurface. Not just to affirm your worth, but to remind you that someone once believed in you when you didn't even believe in yourself. Archangel Michael says. There is something very specific she knew about you, something no one else has ever spoken aloud to you in that exact way. It may have terrified her. It may have made her feel inadequate, like she wasn't ready to walk beside someone destined to rise so high. Or maybe she thought that if she told you what she saw in you, you'd leave her behind. So she held it in. But now, heaven is reawakening those divine insights. Her soul's awareness is being reconnected to yours. And I ask you this, are you ready to rediscover the hidden truth she carried? Because what she knew about you isn't just about love. It's about your calling. It's about your mission. It's about a sacred identity she sensed in you long before you did. And the moment you embrace this truth, something within you will activate. This is not just about the past, it's about the power that's about to rise in your future. Heaven will orchestrate a moment, you must not ignore the sign. Type Amen 5362 to get the heaven blessings. Heaven is not done with this story. Though much has been left unsaid, and though time has tried to wash away the emotional imprints between you, divine timing has not forgotten. There is an orchestrated moment being prepared right now, something you cannot plan, but must be ready for. A moment where realms may briefly merge, where the unseen may become felt, and where your heart may be called to attention. You are about to receive a visitation. Not necessarily in the form of a physical meeting, but a spiritual appointment. A divine interruption. It may come as a dream so vivid it leaves you breathless. It may be a sudden flood of memories that rush into your soul like a tidal wave. It may even be an encounter with someone else, someone who, without realizing it, will speak her words to you as a vessel. You must pay attention. Archangel Michael says. You may hear her name in unexpected places. Smell her scent in the air when no one else is near. Hear a song from the past that you haven't thought about in years, only to feel your chest tighten with something ancient and unresolved. These are not coincidences. These are angelic activations. Signs sent to alert your spirit, the time is near. Listen. Receive. Be still. Heaven is preparing a sacred moment where her soul may speak to yours, not through noise, but through knowing. And when it happens, you will feel it in your core. You will know something holy is unfolding. But you must be open. You must stay spiritually sensitive. Because this moment may not come wrapped in certainty. It may come like a whisper. It may feel surreal. You may even question it. But trust the sensation in your soul. That is where the divine signature will appear. Type Amen 723 to get the heaven blessings. You see, her soul still desires peace. Resolution. Maybe forgiveness. Or even just the dignity of being heard, after so many years of being misunderstood. And you? You are part of that resolution. You hold a piece of healing she cannot give herself. There may be a message passed through an intuitive friend. A psychic dream. A letter you stumble upon. A social media memory that opens a portal of divine timing. Don't dismiss these things. They are sacred breadcrumbs. And I tell you this in love, if you are too busy, too hardened, or too skeptical, you may miss the visitation. And if you miss it, the opportunity for mutual release may pass into the next cycle. But if you say yes, yes to stillness, yes to mystery, yes to divine listening, then something long sealed will finally be released. And in that release, a new freedom will flow into your life. Because this is not just her story. It's yours too. Your bond was never broken, only paused. Archangel Michael speaks. There is something left behind, and it's not just emotional residue. It's a sacred inheritance, locked not in bank accounts or legal documents, but in energy, in intention, in memory, and in silent prayer. Something this woman once left for you, even if she never had the chance to explain it. And now, that spiritual inheritance is being unearthed. You may think of inheritance as only physical. But heaven reveals that spiritual inheritances are just as real, and often far more powerful. And in this case, what she left for you is deep, emotional, and revelatory. She poured pieces of herself into objects, conversations, prayers, or journal entries that were meant to carry her essence forward, even in her absence. Archangel Michael says. There was something she wanted to give you. Something you were meant to discover later, once your heart had healed enough to truly receive it. Perhaps it was an affirmation of your calling. A personal truth about what truly happened between you. Or maybe, a vision of who she saw you becoming. She did not forget you. Even after silence fell between you, she still remembered. She still watched, from afar or in secret. And she still held hope that one day, this moment, you would come into alignment and find the clues she left behind. Type Amen 2837 to get the heaven blessings. Do you remember the letter she never gave you? Do you remember the conversation that ended abruptly, when you felt there was more to be said? Do you still have an old gift, a photograph, a message, something you couldn't throw away? Beloved, that's not just nostalgia. That's activation. A portal to the energy she encoded just for you. When you reconnect with it, pray. Ask me to reveal its meaning. Because it's not just a memory, it's a key. And that key is part of your emotional liberation. But the inheritance goes deeper. She didn't just leave you a message. She left you a mirror. A reflection of your potential. A version of you that she saw, one that maybe you've yet to step into. She loved a version of you that was already in motion, already rising, and that belief is stored in heaven. And now, you're being called to rise into it. Not because she needs validation, but because your soul is ready to reclaim what was spoken over your life through her love. Archangel Michael says. Heaven has safeguarded this spiritual inheritance until now. Because this moment, this sacred now, is when your soul can absorb it without pain, without confusion, without ego. You must reclaim it. Look back not to dwell, but to unlock what was hidden. Because within her memory is something you need to finish your next season. Something she once hoped you'd discover, long after the world forgot your story. And when you find it, even if it's just a realization, a feeling, or a sentence she once said, let it heal you. Let it affirm you. Let it set the final record straight. Because this inheritance is not just about closure. It's about empowerment. Type Amen 28372 to get the heaven blessings. Your healing will not be complete until you face this sacred echo. Archangel Michael speaks with piercing clarity. Now we come to the threshold. You've been prepared, guided, and stirred. You've felt her energy in subtle ways, seen flashes of her in memory, and perhaps even noticed signs gathering like stars in alignment. But this next moment is the most crucial of all. Because now, heaven is asking you a question, not just of curiosity, but of destiny. Are you brave enough to hear her now? Archangel Michael says. This is not just about revisiting a past connection. It's about facing the emotional weight of something unfinished. And that takes courage. Because when we return to things left unsaid, we risk reopening old wounds. But we also position ourselves to receive divine restoration. There is something she needs you to hear. Something she could not say then, perhaps because she was afraid. Perhaps because her pride wouldn't let her. Or perhaps because timing made it impossible. But that message still hovers in the air between you. And here's what heaven wants you to understand. This is not just her story. It's yours, too. Type Amen 9287 to get the heaven blessings. You are part of a divine intersection, a spiritual lesson dressed as a love story. What you felt was real. What she carried was valid. And what was left behind is now ready to surface. But it can only be received by a heart willing to listen without judgment. Can you do that? Can you receive her truth, even if it doesn't align with what you believed? Can you hold her pain for a moment, not to excuse anything, but to understand the complexity of what she carried? Because in this sacred listening, healing will pour over both of you. Whether she is physically near or far, whether she is alive or has transitioned, the message remains. Her spirit still remembers. And it is reaching toward yours, asking one final thing. Will you let me speak now? This could come through dreams, a letter you never knew existed, or even a moment of intuitive knowing that breaks you open. But when it comes, you must be willing to sit with it. You must feel what you once buried. And you must let the tears fall, not as a sign of weakness, but as a baptism into freedom. Do not run from this moment. Do not hide behind distractions or false strength. Because real strength is found in surrender. This part of your healing cannot be bypassed. No amount of time, success, or distance will erase what your soul still carries, until you face it. And here's the beauty, beloved. If you are brave enough to hear her now, you will not only free her, you will free yourself. From the loops of wondering. From the quiet ache of what if. From the soul wound that never closed, only scabbed. This is your invitation to finish the conversation heaven never forgot. To make peace with the one who saw your light, even when the world didn't. Are you brave enough to hear her now? Type Amen 22829 to get the heaven blessings. Some loves do not end, they evolve into divine assignments. Archangel Michael speaks with reverence and purpose. Some connections are not meant to last a lifetime in the physical realm, but they are designed to last forever in spirit. And this is one of them. Your story with her did not truly end. It merely shifted dimensions. Earthly silence does not mean spiritual stillness. The conversation continues, not with words, but with energy. And now, beloved, heaven is calling you to the final step, sacred release. Not to erase her. Not to deny what was real. But to honor what was true, and let go of what could never be fully realized. This is not a goodbye. This is a transformation. The pain she carried is ready to lift. The words she never said are being released now through divine channels. The regret she buried is being drawn to the surface so that it can evaporate into grace. And your soul is a vital part of this transmutation. Archangel Michael says, you see, your bond was never meaningless. It was a soul agreement, an assignment written before birth, designed to activate something in both of you. Her role in your life was not only as lover, companion, or friend, she was a mirror, a catalyst, a holy spark sent to awaken something ancient in your spirit. And now that awakening is complete. Type Amen 2832 to get the heaven blessings. But the soul does not forget kindness. The soul does not forget devotion. And those circumstances prevented a final conversation, heaven is now allowing you to feel it in the spirit. This is the sacred release, where tears fall like rain on dry ground, and peace arrives not because everything is resolved in logic, but because everything is honored in love. She may have been waiting for this moment without even knowing it. You may have been carrying a quiet ache, wondering what was left unspoken, what went misunderstood, what never had its proper ending. And now, heaven brings it full circle. Say what you need to say. Speak it in prayer. Whisper it into the night air. Write it in your journal. Light a candle. Play her song. Honor the space where the love lived, not to reopen wounds, but to close them with sacred dignity. And here's what I will tell you. The love she had for you never fully died. It transformed. into blessing, into prayer, into hope. And now it flows toward you one last time, not to rekindle something lost, but to remind you of the power you've carried all along. You were always more than what she saw. But she was the first to see it. And now, that torch returns to your hands. It's time to walk forward, carrying the truth, the love, and the lessons, but leaving behind the sorrow. Because this story, while written with passion and pain, was always meant to evolve into power. So close your eyes. Breathe in. And release her now, in gratitude, in peace, in divine finality. You are both free. And heaven rejoices. Type Amen 2737 to get the heaven blessings.